Welcome to Gold Derby. I'm senior editor Denton Davidson here with Nick Della Mora and Stacey Roy, the winners of season 3 of Lego Masters. First of all, huge congratulations to the two of you. Dave and Emily took third, and then it was down to you and Steven, the firefighters. What goes through your mind in those last moments, right before Amy announces you as the winner? And then what happened right after?
I think that has to be one of the most nerve-wracking moments of my life. I think I speak for both of us. We would have been so happy for Steven and Steven had they won it, or Dave and Emily. These people have become some of our closest friends. Yeah. But in that moment where you're just waiting for her to open that envelope, it's like everything stops. It feels like every time is just in slow motion. Yep. And you're like,
the sounds get quiet, everything just fades away, and you're just waiting to hear what happens.
Longest moment of my life. And then the most exciting moment of my life.
Yeah, super exciting. I mean, it's just so surreal getting to hear those names. You're like, this can't be actually happening, right? And then it's like, oh my gosh, no, your names are there, your family's cheering. It's so incredible.
And then what happens? Because this is a pre-taped show, so you can't just like go out and celebrate everywhere. Was there sort of an in-house celebration? We saw like friends and family were there already. So what happened afterwards?
So one of the things that was really sweet, like pretty soon after we won, they rushed us off for interviews. Mm-hmm. And then a bunch of the crew, we had some champagne, we toasted, and Nick and I had the most rock out jam session ever in the car ride back to the hotel. We were blaring the music, we were screaming, we were dancing in the car, we were so excited.
A lot of energy and excitement for sure.
And then of course, because we did have some family members there, and then our really close friends on the show, we did have some cocktails later that night and celebrated and all just hung out together, sharing stories of our experience.
It was really, really special having the family and friends there to do that with, because like it would have been awesome just the cast, of course, because we had already grown so close, but just the added bonus of getting to meet each other's friends and family and stuff, and just like really getting to know each other on that deeper level and celebrating, and the excitement of what we all accomplished together was super extra special.
And I'm going to be honest with you too. I was worried about you because You were in the bottom 4 weeks in a row, and then you really came on strong at the end. You didn't just win the final challenge, you won the semifinal challenge. So the last two were yours. But what week in particular were you probably the most worried, or were you thinking, are we going to go home?
Mini golf.
The
mini golf masters. Yeah. I don't know what it was. I think it was maybe just the combination of like how much we had been going through up to that point. The weeks really start to catch up to you as you're doing these amazing but intense challenges back to back. And so I think when we set out with our plan for the build, we just didn't realize how much we were really taking on with it. And as that clock whittled down, I was like, oh yeah, no, we can do this. Like, this isn't as bad as it seems. And you really don't have the ability to like step back, kind of reassess and be like, oh man, this is not going in a good direction. And so
we were a little ambitious.
We ended up in a bad place with it because we were a little too ambitious with it. But I had said to Stacey, like, you even heard me in the episode, like, apologizing. I was basically, like, accepting our fate. But at a later point, I just said, if we're meant to be here, the build will work perfectly, and it'll be really fun for Will, and that might just be enough to save us.
And that's exactly what happened. Like, of course, that was one of the most emotional episodes for us. But at the same time, we really grew as a team, and seeing everybody in the room support us and cheer us on just meant the world. It was such a special moment. Like we even put some of that in our final build. Yeah. We had our little cat and mouse on the side of our bookshelf to represent that, because that moment did mean a lot. We learned a lot.
Yeah.
And you never know what sort of twist Will Arnett's going to throw into these competitions. And I'm curious, how many weeks in advance, or was it weeks in advance or days, were you sort of starting to think about, like, if we get to the finale, what's that final build going to be? Was it planned out, or was it right on the spot?
For Stacey and I think we were just going through so much in the moment with all the other challenges that we didn't kind of have like the peace of mind, I guess, almost to like slow down and be like, okay, if we make it to the finale, because we were just like, we just need to make it to the next week. Yeah. We're not worried about the finale right now. It was like too far out for us to be concerned with it. But it was funny because when we got close enough to start thinking, okay, we should really give this a little bit of thought, we actually came together an idea pretty quickly.
So fast.
I think we started with like a nightstand sort of idea, like having some things from your childhood on your nightstand. Mm-hmm. And then like slowly we just managed to we kept coming back at each other's with ideas and building on it. And then all of a sudden we just both had this concept that we were in absolute love with.
And what was so great about it too is we had so many ideas. When we got out that notepad and started writing down, we were like coming up with like a list of like 100 different things we could put on this bookcase to represent our childhood, to represent our past builds.
Absolutely.
And I think that's when we knew we were onto something special, because we couldn't stop talking about it. And it was an idea that really excited us.
Yeah, if you gave us another 24 hours, I'm pretty sure we would have had that bookshelf filled to the brim with fun stuff.
I think you give us another 24 hours, we'd have a whole bedroom.
Maybe, yeah, the whole bedroom set.
Or a library of bookshelves.
Exactly.
There was a twist. They brought out these gift bags of your original, like the first Lego sets that you got as kids. How was there like a questionnaire you filled out at the beginning of this? How did they know what those were? And then what was it like to see sort of these retro things come back?
So they were kind of sneaky. They were asking us, they're just like, oh, what did you play with as a kid? Like, do you remember what your first set was? I didn't really put it together at all. I just thought it was great conversation.
No, and like the 90th anniversary had been in theme a bit. So it's like, oh, it's cool that they want to like get into a little bit of our history with Lego and stuff. So it kind of felt like it was coming from that approach. Definitely was not expecting to actually see that set. And I actually have it in the background here as well, because I've kept that set because I feel like I always knew how important Lego was going to be to me. So I literally have that exact set in the background here.
It was the perfect twist for us. We kept saying that when that twist was announced, we're like, this is made for us. Our whole bookshelf is about our childhood, and now we have a childhood set to incorporate. We're like, easy. And
you two both had these big social media followings, but I think people were surprised to learn that you hadn't actually built together. This was you two coming together for the first time. So how did that happen exactly? And how did you guys decide that you wanted to do this show together as a team?
Yeah, so I had been interested in the show very early on. I think they talked about it even on the show a little bit, that I'd actually done a lot of the challenges on my own time just to kind of practice and show that I really wanted to be on there. And so when season 3 rolled around and casting discussion kind of started, I was like, all right, who do I know that like does something like I do, really likes Lego? And I had seen Stacey doing a lot of Lego building on her stream. So I was like, hey, Stacey's Canadian. We're both streamers. We both love Lego, obviously. So like, let me see if she would be down to try this. And funnily enough, we had actually met a couple years earlier, but forgot. So we
at a convention at TwitchCon.
So it was funny that we ended up coming back together in a way all these years later for this amazing experience.
It was amazing. When Nick messaged me out of the blue, like, hey, would you want to maybe audition for Lego Masters? I looked it up. I looked into it for a few minutes, and I was like, I'm in. Let's do this. And then before I knew it, I was on a plane to Atlanta, Georgia.
What sort of gave you this entrepreneurial spirit to get into social media? And because what's your backgrounds? Because no one, goes to college for TikTok.
For Lego. So, I hope one day people do go to school for Lego.
You know what? It probably is on its way, honestly. But what is the background for each of you, and what brought you into this social media background?
Yeah, so for me, I went to Vancouver Film School where I studied acting for film and television. And then shortly after that, I realized I really wanted to take my career into my own hands. So I started my own film production company and started creating my own shows. I do Cooking with Stacey. I've got a show called The Nerdy Bartender. And then, of course, I do Lego streams. So my whole life just revolves around Lego, drinks, and food. It's amazing. I love it. And I wanted to be able to make content and connect with an audience of people from all around the world.
And Nick, how about you?
Yeah, so my background's kind of similar. Lego's always been there for me. And so I've always thought, like, what can I do to, help make Lego more part of my life? Because as much fun as, working a 9-to-5 job might be and stuff, I want to be able to build with Lego as much as possible. And there's no 9-to-5 job that allows that yet, other than working as a Lego designer. But that's in Denmark. It's a little far from Toronto. So I actually have a background in mechanical engineering. I tried that out for a little while. And I just felt like I wasn't passionate about it. And so I had actually discovered Twitch and live streaming. And when I did, they were really pushing creative content on there. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. I can like hang out with fellow Lego fans, talk about what I'm building. And it's such a cool way to just be able to share in our passions with people from, like Stacey said, all over the world. And so I really, really found that I fell in love with streaming and just chatting with people I was building. And it slowly grew into something that I could do full time. So I'm just incredibly grateful that all happened.
And things got really emotional on the show. For everyone, and it appeared as though everyone got so close. What are we not seeing backstage? How much time are you spending together? How many hours and weeks are outside of the studio where you just sort of grow as a family?
We spent so much time together. We would have these long days on set, building Lego, filming, and we would get back to the hotel and we'd immediately go to someone's hotel room to hang out and talk about the day. Like we became a family so quickly. And I think that's one of the best things that came out of Lego Masters is our Lego fam.
Absolutely. And it was really nice that the hotel actually had like a little pool and barbecue area and fire pit. So we would regularly afterwards like sneak over there, all sit around together and just sharing all the war stories, if you will, from each day of Lego Masters. And it was just so fun getting to share in that and then get to know each other better. Because on set, you really don't have time to get to know each other. So it was just so nice to have that extra time to invest in each other.
What are Will, Amy, and Jamie like on set? And, you know, how much time are they going around? How much is Will taunting you throughout the project? I love it when he, by the way, made you be mean to Steven and Steven. That was one of
I felt so bad when he did that. I immediately ran over to the Stevens. I was like, we were just kidding.
Yeah, Stacey could not like let someone think she was actually being mean, and it's just like you can tell it's not really within her or me. I don't think I'm a very angry person. So it's really fun though. Like Will's just trying to bring out a lighter side of things. He understands how intense it is. He's obviously watching us go through these very intense challenges. So when he comes over, you can tell he's genuinely interested in just trying to lighten things up a little bit, let us relax a little bit, have a moment to kind of cool off and just like chill out and like just take more time to enjoy being there rather than feeling so stressed about kind of whatever we're going through at the time. So
when Will would interrupt the challenges, it reminded us that we're playing with Lego.
Exactly.
That this is fun and exciting. So he definitely helped keep it very lighthearted on set.
Yeah.
And then as far as working with the Brickmasters, they're amazing.
They are. Yeah.
It meant a lot to be able to meet Amy and get her advice on our builds. Like they were wonderful. Yeah. I loved being able to talk with them and learn from them.
Yeah, Jamie's really well known in the Lego community. I had actually met him at a Lego convention randomly like 10 years ago. He had talked about some of the modular buildings he had designed at a presentation. And you could just he's someone who's really been passionate about Lego for a really long time. And so to just have his like feedback and expertise as part of the show it felt like such an honor to be part of it there with him.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to interview those two, and I think it's important for people to know these are legit. I mean, Brickmasters. They're not some actors that they put out as hosts or anything like that. They know what they're talking about. A lot of your builds would get blown up or smashed, and I'm curious, like, is that like no, my work, or was it sort of cathartic to watch it all just go up in smoke?
I love the explosions. I love it because it's again, I know we pour a lot of time and heart and energy into these builds, but there's just something so fun about just getting to smash it and watch it explode. I loved it. I thought it was great.
I would say I really liked it for the castle challenge because it was like very intentional. I think our explosion was really, really satisfying with all those colors exploding out of our snowy castle. For the pirate ship one, I was just like, oh, this is literally just for Will to enjoy blowing things up. Like, there's no purpose here. It doesn't add anything to the story or the challenge. This is just for Will to be able to hit a button and go boom. And you know what? It's like, it's sad watching the builds blow up, but you see Will and you're like, okay, you know what? He's just so happy. You got to let him have this.
You gotta let him have it.
So that final build goes up in Legoland, New York. Is it up there yet? Or do you get to go see it? Or what's the status?
We are hoping of course we're gonna go see it.
Yes, we'll definitely.
We want to definitely revisit that build. I believe Legoland New York is a seasonal park, so I don't think it opens up until
I want to say end of March. Or early April, springtime.
Yeah. So yes, a trip is definitely in the works.
And I mean, I would really love to make sure we get to bring our families out there. Obviously, we were super fortunate to have my girlfriend, now fiance, and Stacey's dad there to see it in person. But like my parents, my sister, maybe a couple of close friends and stuff, it'd be so awesome to be able to have them see that build in person. Because even like as amazing it was to see them on the show, you're like, oh, there was still like all these little things you kind of end up missing because there's just not enough time to show every build and every detail. So it'd be awesome to see more of it again.
Last night we spent a fair bit of time with our families telling them about all the details they didn't get to see on the show because they didn't even show the back of our bookshelf, which was also filled with little tiny details. We had like crayon
drawings. We stuck a sock on the back of it because some kid would clearly forget that their sock was behind the cupboard.
Absolutely,
so there's a lot of fun stuff in there.
Nick and Stacey equals BFF on the back.
Congratulations once again, Nick and Stacey, season 3 champs of Lego Masters. Such a deserving win, and best wishes to both of you. And we'll look forward to seeing what you have going forward. And thanks for chatting with Gold Derby today.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Have a good day. Bye.